Welcome, everybody. It's Andrew Beach, Executive Coach. I'm a teacher of self-education. I help professionals like you communicate your value to find great opportunities faster, whether you're working or not. That's through a pragmatic process of branding, planning, and networking. Happy Friday, everybody. It's Career Happy Hour. Wherever you're joining us from, let me know in the chat if you can hear my audio okay, if that's coming through. Let me know where you're joining from and any questions that you might have. It's Career Happy Hour, as we say here also. It's Career Cocktail Hour. So if you do have some questions that you'd like to have addressed or answered, I'm here to do that. Good to have you all. Also, just FYI, there should be a link in the description for you to come on live. If you want to come on live, you can certainly do that. Happy to support your success through live coaching. If that's you, then let's do this. Anyhow, good. Let me know. Let's see here. Good. Jennifer, good to see you. Welcome from California. Excellent. North Carolina. Good to have y'all. And I mean that in an affectionate way. I don't mean y'all in a bad way, if you know what I mean. Good. Let me see how things are coming through. I'm trying something new today. It's called OBS Live Cam or something. I get to put backgrounds and everything with my green screen. Good. You like the background? Is the audio synced up? Let me know if the audio is synced up. Yes, Sherry, thank you. I appreciate that. So I would really encourage all of you, when you have a chance, like Sherry, put your LinkedIn profile in the chat so that you can get connected with each other. This is a community, and I encourage everybody, put your LinkedIn profile there, and that's signaling to people that you're open to being in contact and having a conversation. Good. Welcome, Terry. Good to see you. Albany, New York. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate that. Excellent. You're welcome. I do like the backdrop myself. It's rather nostalgic, if you know what I mean. It's rather nostalgic in that, what we're talking about is planning for next year. And I got a little nostalgic because this is actually, the background is from Leavenworth, Washington. And I don't know if many of you are familiar with that city, but Leavenworth is a Bavarian village in the center of state of Washington, roughly speaking, give or take. And they have every year a tree lighting ceremony. And many years ago, after my first corporate workforce reduction program, and not soon after, I suppose, I guess that was 2000. It was 2001. And you could still fly. Once they had opened the skies up again, we flew to Wenatchee, and I proposed to my wife that year in Leavenworth. So it was gorgeous. So if you haven't been to Leavenworth, I'd put it on your list of things to do. It's not a bad drive if you're in the Northwest. It's a beautiful drive out Highway 2. I think we took. You can go a different way, but Highway 2 is gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's worth the extra time to drive Highway 2. So let me ask you, where's the lederhosen? I like it. That's not my style. Even though I'm mostly English and part German, I'm not full German. So I'll pass on the lederhosen. So thanks for that offer. But question for you, how have you been doing on the person a day challenge? Or in this case, we asked some people between now and the end of the year, on the days that you're working, could you do 2 people a day? 2 networking conversations each day. Could you do that? The answer is probably yes. The bigger question is, will you? Now, I did the math, folks, and it appears, let me put this up on the screen. It appears we have 16 days, calendar days, between now and January 4th. Okay, so between today and Sunday, January 3rd, 16 days to network, connect with people. Yes, some of that might be on the weekends, but that's personal connections. You know, how many people Thank you, Jeannie. Appreciate that. How many people could do a couple people a day? Outreach to people you know, wishing them happy holidays, that sort of thing. Let me know if that's something. Good. Sounds like the audio sync. That's great. Appreciate that. Good. Hello from Texas. Good to have y'all. Yes, if you put your LinkedIn profile in the chat, that is a signal, by the way, that you are open to other people in this stream contacting you and having network meetings. Network meetings, again, are the number one way to find work today for most of us. Some folks have a set of skills that are always in demand and have no problem finding work. But for most people, I'd say 99.999% of us, we need to take it a step further. That's why today I was really thinking about what can we do to improve ourselves, to set some new goals for 2021. So yes, continue on the 2-per-day challenge if that's in your wheelhouse and you feel committed to doing that. Now remember, is that how many? How many could you do? Could you do one a day between now and then? How many? How many could you do? Okay, let me know in the chat. How many could you do? By the way, if you're just joining, I'm just letting people in. I might have to leave a little early today, but if you would please click the share button at the bottom of the stream. Share button at the bottom of the stream. That would really help get legs underneath this every Friday thing, 3 p.m. Pacific time, every Friday. So if that's you, please share whatever profile or system that you're on. Go ahead and share that broadcast. So I was thinking about goal setting. Now, this is something I used to do when I was selling real estate. Every year, I would make a new business plan. It was a very simple one-page business plan that talked about how did I do last year. So part of planning for next year is year in review, and we need to look at it objectively by numbers, right? So many of us maybe need to look at how we are going to review this last year, because there was a lot of challenge this year. I don't deny it. I don't certainly think that any one person is having it worse or easier than anybody else. And we need to objectively evaluate and put to rest 2020. That doesn't mean that struggle and challenge isn't going to persist into 2021. Let's not assume that that's going to happen. Let's assume what we've experienced has allowed us to be informed in what we should be doing in 2021 as job-seeking professionals, as career elevating professionals. So maybe the language that I need to adopt is different in 2021 than it was in 2020. What is that for you? So I would typically call myself somebody who helps job-seeking professionals, but generally speaking, I might change that to career elevating or career optimizing. And each one of us could change how we're presenting ourselves. In fact, yesterday, if you attended the From Introvert to Networking Superstar in 30 Days session yesterday, I certainly can put that. Let me do that. Let me put that in the chat for y'all. I have a link to the replay so that you can watch and take in the replay. So even though I may be in a position where I need to leave early, I do have a resource for you so that you can be satisfied with that. So let me get to the, there it is. Copy that, put it in the chat box. From Introvert to Networking Superstar. That's a replay. You should take advantage of this over the weekend. If you're interested in the course, that's fine. You can take advantage of the course, but that's not something I'm pushing or advocating or even selling here today. Today is just about adding value to you. So if that is something you're interested in and you want to see the replay of the session we did yesterday, that's the way to do it. Good deal. And if you have questions, put them in the chat. That's the first thing. The second thing is, if you want to come on live and get some live hands-on coaching by me, that would be great. Just click the link in the description. I'll actually share. I'll share that in the chat. So if you're interested in coming on live to get free coaching, you can do that. Okay. Whatever y'all feel happy about. Good. And let me know how you're all doing. I would be interested in knowing that. How are you doing? How are you all doing? Good. I'm glad. Thank you, Anthony. Appreciate that. Anthony comes with some kind words. He's an exceptional talent, in my opinion. Has a lot of good experience in design and architecture. So take a look at Anthony and connect with him. If you put your link, Anthony, that's you indicating to everybody here that you don't mind networking and connecting with professionals. And so that's something to take a look at. Good. Any questions, put those in the chat. Let's see. Good. I mean, that's interesting that you would make that observation. So Jeannie's made an interesting observation. Being and doing unusual can make new contacts easier. Wearing a Santa hat around the holidays, having an unusual tattoo or unusually colored hair can be great tools for this. Yeah. Now, let's also not be perhaps tone deaf to the marketplace that doing some of those things might limit your opportunities, but it is a conversation starter for a lot of people. And I would say do what works for you. That might work for Jeannie. For someone else, it might just be wearing a bright shirt. Maybe that's the only adjustment you make. Just something to get or an ugly sweater, if you will. Just something to get the conversation rolling. So I understand the concept and appreciate that. Good. Thanks, Terry. I was hoping to wind up the week. I think the weekend is a great place to start planning for next week. Friday afternoons, at least when I was in sales, that's how I positioned it, is that I knew I had to hit the ground running on Monday. And if you didn't prepare on Friday, for next week, you didn't have a next week. You didn't have any sales calls to go on. You didn't have anybody to meet. You didn't get consistent results. So yes, this is a great way to wind down the week, but it's also a great time to prep the next week. So thanks for that contribution. Appreciate that. Good. Thank you, Anthony, for putting your LinkedIn profile in the chat. I'd encourage all of you to do that. Okay. So topic. Sorry to bounce around here. Just want to get people engaged and give them credit. If we're talking goal setting for 2021, first step that I always did in real estate, and that I'm doing now, between now and the first of the year, I'll be setting some new goals, is to review the last year. Okay. Now, some of us may have to look at it from a job seeking perspective. In real estate, we looked at it from units sold, or even in my business now as a career coach, I need to look at, how many clients did I help and how much revenue did I generate and those sorts of things. But come up with some metrics on how you measured 2020 and how you're going to measure it going forward. Now, we talk a lot about effective search here on this career happy hour. And part of that is networking. So perhaps you make a goal or set a goal that you want to meet and talk to, 10 people a month. 10 people a month. That's only, probably one every other day during the work week. Maybe 5 people every 2 weeks. Could you do 5 people every 2 weeks? And the answer is probably yes. Most of the time I recommend one person a day is something that keeps you honest and probably will lead to 5 people every 2 weeks. Now, that's whether you're working or not. Now, if you're not working, that means you could do more. That's just my interpretation of that, is that doing more is going to work to your benefit. Okay. Good. Thank you, Linda. Appreciate that. So Linda, same goes to you. If you haven't yet put your LinkedIn profile in the chat, go ahead and do that. Okay. So first thing, review 2020. Second thing, set yourself some goals for search in 2021. And the challenge might be is you need to look at your effectiveness in some of those things. Now, effectiveness in search means conversion. Conversion means how many, say, applications have I made and how many interviews did that generate? So if I have a certain number of interviews and I know those all came from online applications, I have a conversion rate, and I need to be honest with myself. I need to be honest with myself about how effective that method was for me and how much time I invested in it. That's the other thing you might consider, is putting together a perfect week. That's one of the exercises I'll be going through over the next 2 weeks. I don't know if that's something we want to look at maybe for next week at some point. But, one of the programs I went through back in the day was, what's his name? Michael Hyatt, The Best Year Ever. So he has a system or a session that he puts on. It's like $300. It's not cheap. But once you go through it, it pretty much doesn't change. So the reason he does it every year is so that he can get a group of people together to walk through the curriculum. And I don't know that the curriculum's monumentally changed in the years and years that he's done it. But one of the exercises he has you do is document what does your perfect week look like, and what are your investments in yourself, in your family, in your health, spirituality, right? Whatever that is in terms of your priorities. How are you, booking time as in a perfect week, recognizing that no week will be perfect, but the pursuit of perfection certainly is worthy. Good. Yeah. Job search. I get it, man. I get it. Here's the thing. I was selling real estate in 2008. What do you think it was like in 2008 when there was, 12,000 homes on the market in our marketplace, and maybe a handful of homes selling? Not a whole lot of homes were selling. It means that your conversions went way down. Your conversion of listing to sold or buyer to sale was way down. There weren't a lot of qualified buyers in the marketplace at that time. It's just logical that you're going to have to do more and more effective means. So we need to do more outreach, more conversation, more networking, and we need to get really good about the follow-up. So yes, I feel you, Anthony. A lot of people here feel you. And if you're frustrated, that's normal. Normal is, not getting responses, making applications. It's all the things I talked about in the session yesterday. And it is a pandemic, and it is impacting everybody. And it's specifically hitting hard certain industries like hospitality, heavily hit. But there's others, so retail has been on its back for a long time. And I think this was just an acceleration of their demise, but a lot of retail establishments going out of business. So we need to look at our skill sets and our strengths, and we need to look at the marketplace, and we need to develop a plan to get us where we want to go. And that's what the goal setting would be about. And if we honestly reflected on 2020 and we looked at all the activities we participated in job search, and we could see that there was a certain conversion rate to interviews, and if none of those interviews generated an offer, then we can see our conversion rate and we can know where to fix things. So every time I meet with a client, that's what we talk about. We talk about, what is your conversion rate from your activity to interviews? Well, I haven't had any interviews. Okay, well, what have you been doing? Well, I've made 500 online applications and have heard back and had maybe an initial screening, but no on-site interviews. So that's a way to measure the effectiveness for you on that method. Now, I could talk to the next candidate, and they're maybe in a space that has a lot higher demand, and maybe they didn't go 500 applications to no interviews. They went 50. Okay, 50 applications per one interview. So I know that's about 2% effective for them. Now, for them, I would advocate spend 2% of your time on that method, because that's how effective it is for you. Now, if it's 0 out of 500, you can imagine how much time I would advocate you spend on that process. Now, if you're making applications, let's say 10 applications to an interview, 10% conversion, that's not so bad. And you're getting interviews and you're getting to the final round, but you're not getting offers. We know where to fix. We fix the interview. So there's a lot that can be done and discerned from just by reviewing what you have done. Now, if you track the numbers, then that's easy. But not always does everybody track their numbers. Maybe one of the goals you have for yourself is every day you just track the numbers and you write down, what is it that I did today? Do an after action review on the day. So today, what did I do? I got up, I had breakfast, I maybe did a workout or went for a walk or took the dog out or went to the gym. Just say, and I spent this much time effective in job search. And if I was in job search, let's say 3 hours today, and I made 4 applications and didn't do any networking, was that day a success? Did I feel that day was good for me? Or did I feel more frustration, loneliness, isolation, and so forth? So think about it. Think about 2020. And yes, we're going to put it in the rear view, but we need to allow it to inform 2021 as we set our goals. So good. Thanks for that contribution. Yes, somewhat frustrated. Okay. Good. Yeah. I mean, at least you're getting interviews. Okay. Now, the thing is, we do all this work to get an interview, and then we feel like, oh, we sit back and we say, you know what? Finally got an interview. My work is done. Or is it? Or is your work just beginning? Honestly, your work's just beginning. If we look at it from that perspective, once we get an interview, it's like the Super Bowl. And if we treat it like that, we're going to get much better success. And so if that's you and you need some support on interview, we have a support service. Not that I'm here to advocate or sell, but if you need support and you need it for next week and you don't have anybody else there to help you, then I'm happy to do that. And so you just go to my website. It's very easy to find services there, and you'll see an interview prep service. I might actually have the link to that. Interview prep webpage, copy. I'll put that in the chat as well. Interview prep service. Okay. It is what it is. If you're interested, that's fine. I'm not here to twist anybody's arm. Okay. Good. Any questions, put those in the chat. Happy to answer. So if you have a question, put it in the chat. You could use the hashtag career happy hour if you like. That's just a little hashtag that we're going with. But put them in the chat. Happy to answer. And if you want to come on live, go right ahead. There is a link in the description and in the chat. And if you want me to answer your questions directly, we can do that. Okay. So what are you thinking? What are you thinking about setting goals for 2021? I know we're going to take time off for the holidays. Wouldn't it be great to kind of have that dialed in? And good. Excellent. Yeah. Actually, thank you for doing that, evaluation. Taking the time to do the evaluation, 2% conversion as a reasonable target helps a lot. But the thing is, it's not reasonable, especially when you know that there's a method that's 85% effective. In a lot of ways, 85% of the jobs are not found from online applications. They're found from informal social contact called networking. They're found from referrals from people in this group. I can assure you this group is getting critical mass, and we are seeing people interact, and we are seeing opportunities shared. And that is eventually going to add to everybody's success. So we're all here to support each other, and it needs to be proactive. A lot of problem with online applications, it's reactive strategy. And a lot of people get frustrated because they don't hear anything, or they get passed over and they think that's the way they're supposed to do it, and their resume should speak for itself. And I mean, that's the whole reason I developed the system that I did and shared it with you yesterday, is because it, not that I'm advocating you stop doing that activity. I'm suggesting you deprioritize that activity. Good. So, I mean, for me, if I could get 50% conversion on meeting a hiring manager in my target company, that's what I'd be shooting for. And that means I would need at least, I would focus on two avatars, really, two people, hiring managers and peers in target organizations where I have the opportunity to be recommended or known directly to a decision maker. Now, I oversimplify. There is some finesse and things that need to happen on the backside of that. And that's what I coach people to do. I coach them how to present themselves in a positive, confident way that aligns with their values and who they are. And then I help them network into those companies where, it feels a little more, how would you say it? Natural, authentic, genuine than just reaching out to somebody and saying, hey, I'm looking for a job. Can you help me? So, if that's something you're interested in, reach out to me offline. I'm happy to talk to you about that. But I'm here to answer your questions today. Good to see you all. And if anybody wants to come on live, they can do that. Good. So the other thing I was thinking about today was this effectiveness rates and all that. Numbers are something I always have chewing around in my head. But I was thinking about, the things I'm going to participate in the next year in my business. And I started thinking about different ways I can present myself to different people. And it led me to start looking for solutions to problems that I'm having and to look at it from the outside. Sometimes we need different perspectives to get to where we need to go. Good. Let's see. One goal is to craft a branding statement, a good one, not the lousy kind. Yeah. One of the groups I was in this week, they said, hey, when I came here, mine sucked too. Mine was terrible. And when they started in, it obviously wasn't great. But having a brand is much different than building a brand. They're two different activities, and they go hand in hand. If you build a brand, you need to take your branding statement and use it on people and see what kind of results you get. And when you do that, you have an opportunity to improve. You look at it, you see how they responded. If they didn't respond, then you make an adjustment. If it lands and it leads to an introduction, or I know somebody who needs that, or they call you out of the blue 6 months after you gave them that branding statement because you planted that seed back in March, then that's working. Okay, that's working. Good. But the lousy, so the way that a branding statement is working or not is, are people introducing you to your target audience? That's how you know it's working. You also know it's working when you start getting interviews. So if you start getting interviews and you're being introduced to the right people, then it's working. Okay. Not that you'll ever stop making it better, but you'll be on the track to getting it to work. Okay. Now, and that's not, by the way, and this is hard for me too, by the way, that's not it from your perspective. You need to have a branding statement from the audience perspective. And the only way to get that perspective is to use it on the audience. That's why I put all this stuff out, so that I can see how you respond to certain things and make sure that my language is helping more than it's harming. So good. Yeah. So target metrics for me would be one person a day. I just want to meet and talk to one new person each day. So if we want to talk just minimum standard metrics, that would be it. And that would put you probably in the top half of the most effective job seekers in terms of time to placement. Good. Any questions out there that I can answer? I know we're going into holidays. I know, we talked about this last week. If you're going into the holidays, we advocate, take out the calendar, and between now and January 4, decide which days you're not going to work on your job search and don't work on those days. Of course, if you get an interview, that's a different story. You might adjust your days off to accommodate an interview. But generally speaking, you'll want to take a look at that and decide for yourself. Like this year, it just seems weird to send out Christmas cards, even though we want to. I don't think we're going to. And we probably won't hand those out even to our friends. What we might do is something a little more intimate than something in the mail. We might, call them or FaceTime them or do something of that nature. But think of the 5 or 10 or 15 people that you could FaceTime for the holidays and just connect with them on a personal level. And they may not be aware if they're in your inner circle, they might be, but if they're outside your inner circle, but somebody you need to reconnect with, they may not be aware you're in a search process or that you're even going through a challenge. So be a beacon for them and allow them to be a beacon for you. Good. What do you got here, Linda? I am a transformation program manager who is known for being passionate, innovative, and getting things done. Let's see. My branding can be summed up by tact, take risks, ask questions, show confidence, thank others. Yeah. So some of the things that we display in a brand don't have to be explicit. They need to be implicit. So I can certainly see that you're articulate. You have language, right? There's things that are spoken and things that are not spoken. And often we feel like to make ourselves feel powerful and comfortable with the process that we're going to use words that matter to us and may or may not land with the target audience. So what I'd advocate, try that out on some folks in your target audience. So who would hire a transformation program manager? Who is that person? Okay. Who is the person that would hire that? And how many of those people could I meet in the next 3 weeks between now and January 4? Okay. I guess that's, what did we say that was? 16 days, 17 days, something like that, give or take. And share that brand message and see how it lands and see how we can make it better. Okay. Think about it. Any other questions out there? Happy to answer. I might just check out here early. I have some other obligations at 4 o'clock that I need to attend to, but I do want to spend some time here offering you what I can. But you should, the nice thing about this is we're here to support each other. It's a community. It's not just me on a talking head on LinkedIn. That's not why I do this. I do this so you can have a forum, a group of people that you can collaborate with. And I'm seeing 18 people here on LinkedIn, 18. That may be not enough critical mass. Maybe we should invite some of our friends. Maybe we should invite some of the people we know. Maybe we should share this broadcast with people we know. If you want to do that in private message, fine. You can do that in a private message. You don't have to share it with your entire network. I recognize that everybody has a different situation, a different circumstance. And the way that you change the circumstance is to change how you feel about it through action. And actions positive for someone else actually are actions positive for you. So please take positive action for yourself by doing positive actions for others. Givers gain, right? This is a chance for us to do something for somebody else who may not have even even though we may have it bad, there's always someone that has it worse. And if we aren't in a position to offer something to somebody, then we suffer just as much as they do. So there's a lot to be said for contributing to other people. Good. Finally, a question. Thank you, Jennifer, on the board. Thank you for that. How do you feel about having a quote in your LinkedIn about section? Sure. I just wouldn't. Now, here's the difference, though. I just wouldn't make it the first thing in my about section. I've seen some of that recently, and I just wouldn't do that. You might actually overlay said quote on your background image. And I would do that on something called canva.com. And if you're not familiar, it's free, by the way. All the content they put in there isn't free. All the pictures and the templates and all that, that's not free, not all of it. But I've made almost all of my graphics on Canva for free for the last 3 years, 4 years since I've been using it. I did do the upgrade and tried the premium, and I just really didn't see the value in paying for it every month. So I just use the free version. I'm okay with that. I get my images somewhere else. So yes, you're not alone. Okay, folks, you are not alone. So question for you. If there's 17 people here, that means 16 of them, well, let's say, I think I'm one of them in there. Let's say 15 of them are people you haven't met yet. Could you meet those 15 people between now and the end of the year? I think you could. Let's say you took a look at the 15 and the people that put their stuff in, and you decided, I'm going to do something about this because that's what I control. You don't control hiring. You don't control availability of job postings. You don't control onboarding. You may have gone through a whole string of interviews and gotten down to the end, and they promised an offer, and you've heard nothing for 6 weeks. They withdraw the requisition and decide to go a different direction. Okay, these things happen. You don't control those things. You only control your daily activity. That's it. And if I can control today, I can set up a tomorrow. I can set up a 2021. Okay, but you have to do something today. And if it's just reaching out to one of the people in the chat here and saying, hey, your background looks compelling to mine. In fact, you might just put in the chat the job titles you're really interested in, and maybe a company. What are the job titles and companies you're interested in? And maybe, just maybe, somebody here knows somebody or can offer you an introduction, or they are a hiring manager. It happens all the time. So do that. Put the title you are seeking and maybe a company you're really interested in getting into the chat, and let's see what happens. Let's see what happens when you all come together, okay, and do something about this. The other cool part, I don't know, maybe this is something we could do at another time, but let me see here. Let me see here. Yes, let's connect. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm just looking. Hang on. I'm trying to get somewhere in the chats here. There's a lot of them. There it is. Hello from Vancouver. Okay. Okay, Vancouver. So you kept begging me, Deborah, to do a review of your LinkedIn profile. So here we go. Oh, wait. Looks like Craig came into the waiting room. Maybe we'll go there. We'll go there next. Wow, there's a whole bunch of chats just popped up on my screen. My apologies. But let's see. Let's see what Craig has to say for himself. Craig, I'm coming. Just moving a little slow today, my friend. So let's see what Craig has to say. Craig, are you there? Craig, are you there?
Not getting any audio.
You don't have. You what?
Hello? Andrew, can you hear me? I'm not getting any audio. That's odd.
You're not getting audio? That's bizarre.
No audio.
But
if you can hear me, I just wanted to share my ugly sweater. I did have a question, though, and for whatever reason, I cannot...
So I'm surprised you can't hear, because I think I'm broadcasting audio. Maybe your speakers aren't set up properly, or you need to put on a headset.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. I'll give you a thumbs up.
I can't hear you for some reason.
Okay. I don't know why.
Oh, well.
Can you all hear me? Yeah, so Terry says he can hear us both. We're good. What's your question?
I don't know why. Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Here's the question, if you can hear me. With regard to networking, the question I have is, when you're reaching out to a company, the first step would be to reach out to someone you may know from a previous relationship, etc. If you don't know someone in that organization, I would say, I'm asking for your advice, reach out to someone that is in a similar position to get a dialogue together about what their experience is with that organization, because I'm interested in perhaps joining that organization. But what if you're interested in reaching a higher level executive, like a VP or someone? We had a conversation about this a while back, making it more about them, but they also need to hear something about me that would make them interested enough to connect with me. So I'm kind of getting an idea of what type of communication you would open up via LinkedIn, for example, to get a dialogue going with someone you don't know and maybe of a higher level in the organization.
Okay, sounds like a great question. I think what we'll do is, if you want to, you can certainly drop off and go back to LinkedIn so you can hear the answer. That might be the easiest thing to do, unless you can hear me, in which case I'll stay on. So there you go. Good. I do like the question, so thank you for providing that, Craig. Here's the thing. I don't think the art of reaching out changes based on the level that you are in the organization. The art is the same. The purpose for reaching out might be different, but the process is pretty similar. So here's what I would advocate. And based on your intuition, you probably know this to be true. You start with the people you know first. And if that's a principle, that's even better, right? So if I know the VP and I can reach out to the VP, I'm reaching out to the VP, I'm having that conversation, right? Second step would not be a peer or somebody else tangential. The next step would be, who do I know the same quality as if that a VP was my best friend, right? If the VP is your best friend and you reach out to VP, then that's a good conversation. Who else do I know in the same quality, right? Where we are best friends that knows the VP. So it's somebody who knows somebody. Now, the nice thing is third-party validation is really strong. And if I can get somebody to advocate for me and introduce me, that's the route I would take. But I'd be very clear to them that I'm not approaching this VP for a job. I'd be very clear that it's of strategic mutual best interest to do so that the person referring me doesn't get burned by you, bait and switch. There's a lot that could go on there with you doing different things. But needless to say, first step is I'm going to the people I know first. And if that's the VP, great. If it's not, who else do I know that knows the VP? In lieu of that, I say, who do I know that knows anybody inside the organization? Okay. Inside the organization, whether that's VP or not, could be the custodian, doesn't matter. So if I know that person, great. I'm going to go and have that conversation, because there's real no way to shortcut this, unless you're in sales, which I think, Craig, you're in sales and marketing. So if you're going after a VP of sales, they appreciate direct contact, especially if it's professional. But that doesn't mean they like it. They appreciate it, but they may not like it. And your approach is really going to matter. I much rather be introduced to the VP than approach them cold. In terms of outreach, I would go through that person and I would control the conversation. I would even put together third party, maybe a third party introduction that my friend could share with that person. I imagined, you could even say in an email, hey, I imagined your introduction of me to this person would look like this. And then you're controlling that. You're making it easy on your contact, and it's presenting you in a positive light. Now, that requires a little bit of review and clarification, but generally speaking, it's not going to be about employment. It's going to be about something else, the reason why you want to be at that company. Anyhow. Well, Deborah, I apologize. I need to leave a little bit early today. I wish I could have reviewed your LinkedIn profile, but maybe we do that next week. However, I think we're going to have to switch days because next week is Christmas. So I won't be working next Friday, nor on the 1st. So if you all want to show up on Thursday instead of Friday, I might move it to Thursday if that's okay. And I will actually put a LinkedIn invite, a LinkedIn event together for those 2 days so that we can have something tangible that people can see. Okay, so and I'll do that as soon as I'm done with my work today. I wish you a great weekend. Think about your goal setting and what you're going to accomplish in that space. If you want information on the best year ever, you can certainly go find that. It's Michael Hyatt. I'm sure he's out there and very public. And then we'll see you all next week. Take care now.